So first thing I want to say is this issue, you have brought up one of the most central issues in parenting, and one of the most central relationship conflicts with couples is how to parent children and having very divergent philosophies. And this is a really common one, strict versus permissiveness. And one thing that you might want to consider that we don't always think about enough is what is it that is at the root of your parenting philosophy? What is your deepest beliefs about being a parent? How did you develop your strict viewpoint of parenting? And how did your partner develop their viewpoint of permissive? And one thing that you might want to consider is what I call compensatory parenting. And what I mean by that is many of us need to look back at our own personal history. How were we parented? And a very common thing for many of us is that we have been raised by authoritarian parents in some way, and we felt hurt by it. And as a result, many of us grow up and we think, I'm not going to be that authoritarian parent. I'm not going to be so strict. I'm going to be more free. I'm going to be more permissive. That's one possibility. Another possibility is if we've grown up, let's say, in a very chaotic family as a child, things were just more chaotic and felt like there was no order, we might gravitate towards a parenting style that's more strict. Those are just two examples, but understanding the roots of your own parenting philosophy is extremely important. And it's also important to share with your partner, because then you have a deeper understanding of where they come from, and it brings you closer. You can support them, even though your parenting philosophy might not be like mine. If I feel how you've come to your view, I can feel for you. It touches me. And usually in that exchange, people then become more open to the other's viewpoint. So that's the first thing, to explore the root of parenting approaches. Let's see, and so another thing is both styles have value. Being both permissive, being strict, they're really important, and I would play out both sides, almost as roles with the couple. Yeah, I want to be more free. I think kids should be free to do whatever they want. Nope, kids must have structures. They must have consistency. I don't think that's so important. And just play that back and forth brings a lot of insight and allows you, particularly if you can try to have a facilitator brain while you're doing that. In other words, can you step out and look at those two roles? Can you see value in each of those? And another thing that's extremely fun to do is to bring in the kids, because kids love playing the role of parenting. And also, kids need to be parented in different ways, depending on the kids. And kids will reveal to you, actually, what they need in a given moment. So, I was thinking of this story, but it's a little far out, but this is with a very permissive parent who had a very strict mother, and she decided she was going to let her child determine everything. And she had conflict with her husband because he wanted more boundaries and more structures. Very similar thing. This mother was kind of extreme, though. And the way it came up, which is probably going to be shocking to many people, is that her child, whenever she had the girl, she was a toddler, 4 years old, I think, 4 years old, when she had a poop, she would just poop wherever she was. So if she was in the living room, she would pull down her pants and have a poop on the floor. And this is the permissive mother's parenting philosophy. The father didn't think that was such a good idea, but he couldn't say it. And then when I was working with the three of them, it was fascinating. First, the dad goes over and I just said, well, where do you think your daughter should poop? And he says, I think she should poop in the toilet. And then the little girl, the mother's quiet, and then the little girl looks at the mother and says, Mama, where should I poop? The little girl was looking for direction. And the mother, because of her own background of being so traumatized and controlled in her own childhood around strictness, doing every little thing, she was unable, in such an extreme situation, she was unable to say, well, I really do think you should poop in the toilet. So finally, I said, your daughter wants to know where she should poop. She's looking for your guidance. And then she was finally able to say that, yeah, you should poop in the toilet. And then the girl began to poop in the toilet, and it was all good. But just to show the background of these things, but I think I got off track because I was going to say the kids, engaging them in terms of having them play the parents. Kids love to role play parents. They love it. I've never met a kid who hasn't wanted to play their parents, except if they were very abused and terrified. But otherwise, kids really enjoy playing the parental role. So the reason why I'm suggesting this is because the strictness and permissive nature of the parenting philosophies are also present within the kids themselves. And the most effective way to draw lines, be firm, have boundaries and all that with kids is when they make it themselves. So when they are the rule makers and they are the parents, if you role-played different situations, being permissive, being strict, pick an issue to do it about. Let's say the issue's homework. I think you should do homework right after school. Another side says, I think you should do homework whenever you want. Whenever you feel like it, you should do your homework. But if you have the kids play it out, very different viewpoints come out. And often the kids will say, well, they will pick up the stricter side. They will say, well, you know, I'm afraid if you come home from school, yeah, you're going to play around, but then you're going to forget to do your homework, and then there's going to be a show on that you're going to want to watch, or you're going to want to talk to a friend, and you won't get it done. And they then will give advice, actually, around how to do it. So the rules that are made by the kids are usually the ones that hold. So playing with those two roles and not taking them so personally and fighting against which way is best is a way to go, I think. Yeah, enjoy.